I thank you for your patient attendance. Namah Shivaya. The minister has arrived at the campus. In the meantime, the representatives from the ministry have directed video prior to the arrival of our chief guest. I request your attention to the screen. This short video presentation will be a prelude to today's interaction. Thank you for your cooperation.
I think the power of the individual is what shapes the power of a nation.
Is not just a politician, but also an innovator, a senior design engineer, an Intel CPU architect on the 80486 and Pentium microprocessors, an entrepreneur who founded BPL Mobile in 1994 and Jupiter Capital in 2005, a poster boy of India's telecom revolution, who's been at the forefront of developing India's telecom sector, an avid aviator who traveled the world with India in his heart, an ambassador of culture who proudly presents himself in traditional formal Veshti, a philanthropist who founded the Namma Bengaluru Foundation, which means striving to make Bengaluru a better city. He comes from Fauji family. His father, Air Commodore M.K. Chandrasekhar, was an air warrior. That's why he cares so much for the armed forces personnel.
I obviously am a son of a veteran. My father was in the Air Force, and I've grown up all my life around veterans and people who served in the armed forces. Priya, I have been involved in one rank, one pension as a concept and as an issue for about 9 years.
He's a votary of free speech and governance.
In a nomadic Air Force, Indian Air Force kid living all over India. I've been an average student most of my life. I became a full-blown nerd, churning out code. I used to program like there was no tomorrow. Then an entrepreneur, then an investor, and now a politician. Be inspired not just by names or big achievements or the headlines, but by actions, beliefs, and ideals.
He speaks Malayalam, Kannada, English, and Hindi, and touches millions of hearts through his words and actions. He's a politician of New India who believes in delivering.
Every village, every district headquarters, everybody will be connected on the internet. And that is the surest way of reducing the gap between a government and a citizen.
Let's welcome a politician who has achieved and delivers. Rajeev Chandrasekhar, Union Minister of State for Electronics and Information Technology, Union Minister of State for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship.
Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Our chief guest is on the way. Kindly keep the decorum and serenity. With your attention, please. This is a reminder. Kindly switch off your phones or put them in silent without fail. Thank you. On behalf of Amrita Vidyapeetham, Kochi campus, I welcome you all to today's assembly and discussion on a very pertinent theme, New India for Young India, Techade of Opportunities. All things through the divine, kindly rise as we invoke the supreme grace in prayer. I request the luminaries on stage to illuminate the august lamp and mark the commencement of the function. Please, sir.
सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्वी विनावदीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु। सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु। सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु। सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्।
Thank you, sir. India's digital transformation is at a pivotal moment. Approximately 900 million connected Indians, affordable smartphones and data, record highs in digital payments, the digitization of almost all citizen services, and the vibrant startup ecosystem have all together put the technology sector on track to become the single largest contributor to the national economy. Visible and invisible forces of digitization permeate every aspect of our civic life, earning this decade the dexterously named sobriquet, the Techade. It is a matter of unfathomable prestige for our campus to play a host to today's event. Gracing us with his presence, we have amidst us Sri Rajeev Chandrasekhar, the Honorable Union Minister of State for Electronics and Information Technology and Union Minister of State for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Welcome to Amrita, sir. I now invite Dr. U. Krishna Kumar, Director and Dean, Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, Kochi campus, for the welcome address. Please, sir.
Om Amriteshwari Namaha. My humble prostrations at the lotus feet of our most beloved Amma, the Chancellor of the Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham. My humble pranams to the most respected, honorable Sri Rajeev Chandrasekhar, Minister for State for Electronics and Information Technology, and Minister of State for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. It was within 3 to 4 days that we could arrange this with the most magnificent effort taken by the Minister himself, his office themselves, have taken the initiative to make this a happening. And what was mentioned by the office was, in this event, the students are the kings. Therefore, it is their event, and a dynamic Sri Rajeev Chandrasekhar will be the chief guest as well as leading the students through a vision of gaining the technological advantage for a country led by a most dynamic Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi. And we have seen how India develops through these years, especially during the last 9 years, amongst all the odds in front of us, and becoming the third biggest financial status, and growing towards exploiting all nature's grace, exploiting all the technology's grace, exploiting the human skills and potential. And it's most gratifying that the Honorable Minister Shri Rajeev Chandrasekhar is with us to be the guide and mentor of this program and caretaker of this program. We are only just simple instruments in the hands of his vision plan. He is a member of the Union Council of Ministers of Shri Narendra Modi government. He holds twin responsibilities as Minister of State for Electronics and IT, as well as the skill development and entrepreneurship. He is focused on implementing Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi's vision of Digital India by expanding and deepening India's technological and innovation economy, developing India as a global talent and entrepreneurship hub. In this context, though the Honorable Minister told me, make the welcome speech very brief because we want to have the maximum potential of his presence here, but I take the freedom to tell you a little more about, in another 2 minutes, about the profile of our Honorable Minister. And he is in charge of IT, and quite rightly, he is a BE in Electrical Engineering from the MIT, and he was a Distinguished Alumni Award he won in 2013 from the MIT. Later, from the Illinois Institute of Technology in Chicago, he took the Masters in Computer Science, and he did in Harvard University, Boston, USA, the short management programs and various other technology programs from the Stanford University, Intel University, and he was awarded the Doctor of Science by the Vishwa Technological University in Bangalore. And from the professional side of his achievements, he started his humble career at the Intel at Silicon Valley, California, as a design engineer, and he was instrumental in developing the Intel 8486 design team. And he had the opportunity to work with the legendary Wyndham of the current Intel CEO. He is the current Intel CEO. As an entrepreneur and builder of India's cellular sector, in 1991 he moved from US to India. That is one of the prestigious, we all should appreciate, we should all clap hands for this, because his country is proven even years back in 1991. He shifted his base from US to the farm. As an entrepreneur, he formed the India's cellular sector. He launched the BPL Mobile during the period from 1994 to 2005, and he was one of the pioneers to invest and build the Indian telecom sector. During these 12 years, he found that the telecom sector is growing and growing, and the government monopoly was the greatest, but he transformed the entire scenario of entrepreneurship in the telecom sector. In between, he had a small stint of his skills at the junior as a private equity investor in 2006 in Junior Capital, and its chairman till 2014. In addition to this, his philanthropic effort has put him as the vice chairman of the Center of Economic Studies, and he is also leading the Vivekananda International Foundation. From the political side, he is one of the most dynamic politicians the country has seen, operating from he was selected from the Rajya Sabha through the Karnataka Assembly, and He has been in the politics for the last 15 years. We are all extremely lucky that an entrepreneur, a technocrat, and a visionary is the right hand and left hand of Shri Narendra Modi ji for developing India into the technological world technological hub. And the Digital India, the new digital communication policy, is the strongest advocate or the platform for government's Digital India program. And it is the 25th anniversary now of telecom liberalization. And this is what I have to tell you more about the Honorable Minister, though he said make it short. I made it a little bigger because we should all understand the greatness of the person who is seemingly very simple but very dynamic. So simple outside and inside. So silent inside, violent outside, dynamic outside. These are the kinds of ministers what we want in this country to develop into the topmost among all the countries. With these humble words of introduction, let me, with most humble pranams from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of the Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham University and this Kochi campus, and on behalf of the Mother Amrita, which is managing the university, welcome you, sir, on behalf of all of us to our midst.
To honor the minister with the Ponnada, I request Sri N.R. Mohanan, Center Head CIR and Advisor, and Sri Shabu K.R., Assistant Professor, Commerce Department, to the stage.
So thank you all for the patient listening, and now the Honorable Minister will take over. My humble request to the Honorable Minister to take over.
I should take over or you should take over? Hello, first of all, Elargum Namaskaram, and thank you all for this very warm welcome. Thank you, Dr. Krishkumar, for this very gracious introduction. I'm very happy to be here. It is a privilege to be here, and especially an opportunity to speak to our young colleagues. So I'm in your hands. Go ahead. I'm ready for the fireside chat.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is R. Devananda and I'm a first year MCA student.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Both of us.
Check. Okay. Good afternoon, sir. Sorry for the inconvenience. My name is Pratyush Kurup and I'm currently pursuing Bachelor's in Design first year.
Good evening, sir. My name is Anju and I am final year MSc Math student.
Sir, so our first question for you is, what is the concept of New India and how is it different from old India or the India that we know since decades?
This is a very good question, and usually to answer this question it will require about half a day, because there is so much to tell you about New India and how different it is from old India. But I want to start by saying, and I say this to the three of you, and I say this to all your friends who are today in the audience who are students, and I say this with a lot of responsibility, that in the 75 years that India has been independent, this is the most exciting time to be a young Indian. I was young once. Many of the teachers and professors and other educationists have been young once. But I can tell you that this is the most exciting time to be a young Indian, based on where India is today, where India was yesterday, and where India will be tomorrow. The best way I describe New India versus old India, and because you are all very young, you don't remember old India. And certainly your parents, your grandparents will know old India. I certainly know old India. I use three examples. In the past,
old India was seen as a great democracy, great country, lot of good people, but a dysfunctional country. And I'll explain to you why I say that. പുറത്തുനിന്ന് ആൾക്കാർ നോക്കുമ്പോൾ they would say, oh, നല്ല വലിയ കൺട്രിയാണ്, കുറേ നല്ല ആൾക്കാരുണ്ട്. But ഇവിടെ democracy and governance never works. And ഇതിൻ്റെ ഒരു example is, in the late 80s, there was a famous quote from the then Prime Minister who said this almost like it was a given, that every 100 rupees that comes from Delhi for the benefit of an Indian citizen, only 15 rupees reaches the benefit of that particular person. In between, 85 rupees disappears. So the general perception was India, good people, great country, but our governance and democracy will never deliver. And today you see in this new India, 100 rupees leaves through the technology, 100 rupees reaches the beneficiary's account, no delay, no leakage, no corruption, no mediation. Adonnu. Second, the perception used to be that in old India, the perception was, we are a poor country. India, great country, but a poor country, poor country, avarikku defense in kaashilla, roads in kaashilla. Noku, Singapore is becoming a world-class city. Nammalde cities ellam, we are all still living in 1900s. And that we are a poor country because government does not have money. That was old India. Today, you are living in a country where tax revenues are today 30% above target. There is no leakage, nobody does not pay tax. 13.5 lakh crores are being spent to build modern infrastructure. Roads, ports, airports. So we are catching up and we are becoming, this is new India. Third, for you, I'll tell you specifically, old India for us, people like us, and again, some grey-haired people in the audience, ഞങ്ങൾ സ്കൂൾ കഴിഞ്ഞു, കോളേജിൽ we get into college. College കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് we will have 3 opportunities. ഒന്ന് ഗവൺമെൻറ് ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യുക, or you go join 1 or 2, 3 big companies, Tata, Birla, Tengamaanga, like that, അവിടെ ഒരു company, or you go abroad. Innu, for you and your generation, there is 10,000 opportunities. ഞങ്ങളുടെ ടൈമിലെല്ലാം ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റി ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ കമ്മി, എന്നിട്ട് കാശ് എന്തെങ്കിലും ബിസിനസ് തുടങ്ങണമെങ്കിൽ കാശ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ദർ വിൽ ബി വെരി ഡിഫിക്കൽട്ട് ടു റേസ് മണി. ഇന്ന് ദിസ് ന്യൂ ഇന്ത്യ ദർ ആർ 109 യൂണിക്കോൺസ് ആൻഡ് 95,000 സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്സ്. ആർക്കും ഒരു കണക്ഷൻ ഇല്ല, ഒരു പൊളിറ്റിക്കൽ ഗോഡ് ഫാദർ ഇല്ല, നോ ഫേമസ് ലാസ്റ്റ് നെയിം. They are making things on their own. They are creating successes on their own determination. That is New India. So you ask me, what is the difference between old India and New India? In old India, you could only succeed in limited areas with support from somebody. In New India, you can succeed totally on your own, and you can succeed in many, many different areas that you can choose from. That is, in my opinion, the difference between old India and New India.
So, sir, the statistics are mind-blowing that you gave. So, since we are talking about old India, you did your schooling in India, and you also recently visited your school after almost 5 decades. So, how was your experience? Please share it with us.
Look, I am my childhood has been a slightly different childhood from most of yours. In my 12 years of schooling, I spent that in 10 schools. Okay. So most of you will have school friends. Your best friends in life are those whom you have studied with school. I was a son of an Air Force officer. Appo ee kollam posting ivade, matte kollam aa posting avade. So I have been through 10 schools. Adil in the first school was St. Paul's High School, Kuriyachara, Thrissur. I was a boarder at the age of 5, and I was in boarding for the age of 5 and 6. So going back there was, of course, very sentimental. എന്നിട്ട് എൻ്റെ ഒരു പഴയൊരു ഫോട്ടോഗ്രാഫ് ഉണ്ട്, 1969.
The photograph, I'm a small boy sitting there, and there were our boarding school caregivers, those young girls who look after you. They came and met me. So it was very, very sentimental, and it was certainly a very emotional moment. And I always say the relationship that a student has with his teachers or her teachers and his or her school is sometimes even more special than the relationship you will have with your parents and your brothers and sisters. So I consider that a special relationship.
That's true, sir.
Sir, while in school, which was your most favorite subject?
My favorite subject is the subject that you are studying, math. So that was my favorite subject. And I was always very good at it. Math and physics were my favorite subjects till I reached college. College, I discovered programming. And then everything else became secondary, and I only focused on coding and programming. But while I was in school, it was math and physics.
You have said here the favorite subject. I also want to know which was the subject that was a nightmare for you and you thought that I should never study this.
Actually, I was Kendra Vidyalaya in the school. And the worst subject was Hindi. And I continue to think that was my worst subject. And it is so ironical. 2022 UP election time, Prime Minister gave me a responsibility to go to UP. In the life, first time, Hindi prasangam I did in UP. People told me it was quite good. So I did 10 public programs, ella Hindi. So it's irony. While I was in school, I hated Hindi. Ipo Delhi, I'm in politics and public life. Hindi illenge, you cannot survive in Delhi. So I've become good at Hindi.
Thank you, sir.
A teacher always leaves an impact on each and every student's life. So would you like to share a few names of your teachers whom you really looked up to during your school days?
School days, I don't remember too many teachers. Like I said, every 6 months I was in a different school. So I certainly don't remember any teachers in school. I was trying to remember when I was in Kurichara recently, teacher na pair, but I can't remember. But I certainly remember my teachers and professors in Manipal when I studied engineering. There was a Professor Kamalaksha who protected freshers from ragging. So he was a very brave professor who would come with a torch at night. That raggy and he would chase them away. And I met him recently again, and I have a very good relationship with him. Professor Pai, who taught me programming, I remember him. And I'll share one very interesting story which I shared in the morning today with somebody else. Recently, after I became the minister, Mumbai, I had one program with some American organization called the RISC-V organization. They are microprocessor under a foundation. And screen virtual. Screen on the corner right hand side, there was a person called Dave Patterson. If anybody is studying computer architecture, Professor Dave Patterson is a very legendary name in computer architecture. And he knew I was coming on that program and he had done some homework. So as soon as I logged in, he said, "You took CS 582 with me in 1990 and you got A+ in my grade, in my course." And he is a legend. So the fact that he remembered me, he took the time to know what my grades were and he wanted to remind me and be happy about my success. Like I said, that is the relationship between a good teacher and a good student. It is sometimes a lighthouse beacon, our relationship on a teacher and student. Because a good teacher is showing and shining the light and pointing the direction for a student or a youngster to excel. And I have been fortunate that I've had a few teachers in my life who did that for me. So I value those relationships very much.
That's sweet, sir.
So, sir, you belong to a family of armed forces. So, please tell us about your childhood, as it was being spent among whom we call warriors.
Yeah, so it's a fact that almost all my childhood I have spent along living amongst people who really in a way they lived India first. They lived for that. Our philosophy was that they lived by that value system. Their families imbibed that value system. And there were many cases, and not many cases, I cannot say many, but there are cases where I have played badminton one evening with a particular fighter pilot, and the next day morning he has died. So those are the things that you live with when you live amongst warriors, which is that for them life is very temporary, but that doesn't change their perspective or devotion to their country. Their families are stoic. Sometimes the families are more braver than the warrior themselves. So adallam korchu will rub off on anybody who lives with them. So I think and I hope, and you should tell me and you all should tell me if I have brought some of those values into my own life in public life, that my mission is really about India and Indians rather than anything to do with me or political power or any of that. So I hope I have learned something from those people that I lived with.
So certainly you have.
Thank you.
And so we also read about this reverse counter watch that you have on your office wall. Please tell us something more about it.
Look, all of you have your own heroes. Somebody has Shah Rukh Khan, somebody has Amir Khan, somebody has, I don't know who your latest hero is, Prithviraj or whoever. But for me, from a childhood, my heroes were always those who fought and sacrificed. So in college, when I was in Intel, when I was in building my BPL mobile company, I always had one wall with the photographs of these men. Because I believe that is the ultimate in national service. If you're prepared to give up your life for the people and the country that you belong to, then there's nothing more inspirational than that. I don't mean to say that everybody should do that, but our national service, the iconic, that feeling is a very inspiring feeling. So I keep it there on my office. So every day morning when I come and sit on my chair, I see them and I seek their approval and seek inspiration from them.
So it thus becomes a source of daily inspiration for you.
Absolutely right.
So just now you said that you have a wall full of images of Paramveer Chakra Bravehearts. So sir, on a daily basis, just now you said that you draw inspiration. So what kind of inspiration do you draw, sir?
Public, when you get into government, especially in politics, one of the things that you face is people who oppose you, who try and distract you from your mission. You want to do good for somebody and then somebody will come and try and distract you. One thing that certainly inspires me, and you can ask anybody about my politics or my public life, nobody scares me. Nothing scares me. People can't, intimidate me. And the reason they cannot intimidate me is because I believe in a certain set of values of courage that these people represent. So even when I do my politics in Kerala or wherever, there will be always some people who will try and take some pot shots at me. And sometimes good people stop doing good work because they get intimidated by forces that are bad. They say, hey, let me go back and do something. That I don't do. I stay the course, and I don't stay the course because it's some original thought of mine, but these are the inspirations I draw, that never fear and never let anybody else derail you from your mission and your goals. Whether you're being a startup, whether you're starting a company, whether you're doing your PhD, whether you want to do higher education, because there will always be people who will say, hey, Indina, why are you doing that? Take an easy way. Why do you want to study so much? Why do you want to build a company? Take this shortcut. But no, stay the course, stay focused, and not be afraid.
Sir, how do you see the recent move of government naming 21 islands of Andaman Nicobar after Paramveer Chakra Bravehearts?
I mean, it is a dream come true. I mean, I think I've always said, instead of having everything being named after some family member of some party or some same grandson, son, auntie, mother, granduncle. We should name our set of memorable places and events after those who are real heroes of our country. Adu Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose ano, there are social workers who have done so much for us in our society and community, our warriors who have laid down our lives. There are so many Indians who have contributed to building our nation into what it is today, and we have not recognized so many of them. So in a lot of ways, in the 75th year of independence, we are making up for all the mistakes we made in the past. And we are doing it now. It's a English little phrase, better late than never.
Let's have a big round of applause for his amazing answer.
So, sir, you went abroad for your higher studies and also worked with Intel. So my question is, was it an easy decision to return back to India and also take up entrepreneurship? And also, what convinced you to do so?
Yeah, and this question has been asked of me many times, and I really don't think I sat down and thought about it. Please understand, when I came back, I was 27 years old. And I had already succeeded in the Silicon Valley. And when you're 27 and you all feel the same way, I'm sure, you feel fearless. You feel you can take any risk, any challenge.
Yes, sir.
And so that is the way it should be. That till you are 40, you should continue to pursue whatever you feel is an opportunity for you, which you can do, succeed in. Even if you don't succeed, you should go into it with full. So that is what I did. People say, no, but if you had been in Silicon Valley, this would have happened. If you had done this would have happened. I don't think you should always think, well, I did this, I learned this. In the Ravale, I was telling somebody, I don't remember that actually it was 27 years ago when I started mobile in Kerala. 27 years ago. And I still remember every minute of it like it was yesterday. And 27 years ago means all of you, most of you were not even born that time. So I came back and we built something that was unique, very satisfying. It was a lot of struggle, there was a lot of pain, there was a lot of fight, there was a lot of blood, a lot of sweat. But finally, when you write the book of your life and you look at that chapter, you will feel satisfied. So I always say, no regrets. Did I have regrets coming from there? No. Did I have regrets leaving telecom? No. Did I have regrets joining politics? No. So these are all different phases and different experiences.
Thank you, sir, for your answer.
So I wanted to ask you, which was the most toughest part in your entrepreneurial journey?
The toughest part in those days will not be the tough part for you in today. I'll tell you, toughest part for us those days was dealing with government. Government was a pain for entrepreneurs of our time. Government was a roadblock. Government was a speed bump. Government was a noose, pain. Today is very different because you have a government ecosystem which essentially wants startups to succeed, wants youngsters to build companies. For example, my boss, the Honorable Prime Minister, has given me a target saying your ministry must create so many successful startups. So I am chasing you all, saying please start a business, please build your company, please build your idea. What can I do for you? When we started Adundairnilla, so main challenge, main torment was to deal with government bureaucrats, our approval varilla, and there's an old famous story about how I built my first mobile network. I was ready, but I did not get an approval for 2 months because the minister was meeting me and suggesting a bribe, but I was too naive not to understand what he was calling me for. That in Hindi, in the third meeting, he said, "Aapke ghar mein koi buzurg nahi hai kya?" Means, ningalde veettil oru experience ulla aalonnilla because you are not getting my hint. So when I used to go make a presentation, I would make to him thinking he likes me, എന്നെ വീട്ടിൽ വിളിച്ചു, ഞാൻ ഭയങ്കര പ്രസൻറ്റേഷൻ കൊടുത്തു, അയാൾ ഇംപ്രസ് ചെയ്യുന്നു, അയാൾ ഒരു പ്രാവശ്യം ചെയ്തു, 2 പ്രാവശ്യം ചെയ്തു, 3ാമത്തെ പ്രാവശ്യം then he said, आपके घर में कोई बुजुर्ग नहीं है जो समझ पा रहे हैं कि मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ. Means, isn't there somebody in your house who's old enough to know why I'm calling you? ഇതായിരുന്നു അന്നത്തെ. ഇന്ന് അതൊന്നുമില്ല. ഇന്ന് your challenges are going to be competition. Those days there was a handful of startups and entrepreneurs. ഇന്ന് എല്ലാവർക്കും startup start ചെയ്യണം. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur.
So why did you exit from such a successful venture, BPL Mobiles?
No, I had done 12 years of it, and I had decided, and I'll tell you specifically on the day I sold, a journalist, a young journalist, a lady journalist put a mic in my face and said, "Why are you leaving?" Same question. അപ്പോൾ അന്ന് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു that the challenges left in telecom are only lobbying for free spectrum and fixing deals in Delhi, both of which I am not good at. And therefore, I will exit and I will do something else. And if you look at what happened after I exited, exactly what I predicted happened. 2G scam happened. 3G scam happened. I exited in 2006, 2008, 9 and 10 was exactly this free spectrum gadbad that I was talking about and predicted. So I like to, and I even certainly now tell youngsters who are building startups, it is very easy to get carried away by shortcuts. And there will be a lot of people say, hey, adandina cheyunnu, idhiye ponu, shortcut cheya. Don't do it. If you're in this for the long term, if you're in this to be proud of what you build, do it right, do it ethically, think of the idea as important as the ethics and values that you build into the business.
True, sir. We must consider it a marathon rather than a race.
Absolutely right.
So, sir, my question is, your life has been through so many transitions. So, what were the reasons due to which you joined politics? And also, were there some advices given by your family members and friends, since they are the ones who get concerned?
No. So, none of the decisions in my life, nobody has advised me to do it. As a matter, everybody has advised me not to do it. So that is number one. So I follow my instincts. And as you do your own homework, you read more, you study more, your instincts will be a lot more informed. The reason I joined politics was a total fluke. I left telecom. I was doing nothing at home. I was doing 2 months of reading, 3 months of reading, and somebody one Sunday afternoon, I had watched an Asianet movie, Malayalam movie, I had had biryani, I was feeling sleepy. Somebody said, "Come with me, I'll take you to meet Deve Gowda." Deve Gowda was the leader in Karnataka. So fluke, I went and met Deve Gowda ji. Our fluke meeting, he said, "Why don't you join politics?" And as a fluke, I said, "Okay, let us try politics." And the rest, as they say, is history.
Wow, sir.
So, sir, I wanted to ask you that you were once an entrepreneur and now you are a minister looking after skill development and entrepreneurship ministry. So, according to you, how are the conditions changed for the entrepreneurship in India?
No, entrepreneurship conditions have changed dramatically. Like I said to you, it is easy for everybody today to start a business. The government is not a roadblock, government is an enabling environment. But certainly, there is one very important change that to be a successful entrepreneur today, you need specific skills. You need to be good in a particular area. You can't suddenly wake up one day and say, "I have read that Flipkart is a unicorn and therefore I want to start another e-commerce startup." Adil, you will need to have some particular skills that that create a particular competitive advantage for whatever you are wanting to start. Apo, I always say to students today who ask me this question, the amount of knowledge and skills you need in today's entrepreneurship is more than what you needed 2 decades ago or 1 decade ago. So you need to be good. Adili knowledge matram pora, knowledge and skills. So it's extremely important that you look at skilling and all this what the Prime Minister is doing on skilling as an important element or an important part of the formula for success, whether it is for employment or for entrepreneurship. Minus skills, only a degree, the chances of you being successful get reduced than if you have degrees and a skill.
Given India's demographic dividend, a vast number of young Indians are going to be job seekers. It's both an opportunity and a challenge. How is government prepared for it?
So it is a challenge in a different way. It is certainly an opportunity because, let me tell you about the opportunity and then I'll tell you about the challenge. Opportunity because the whole world today is suffering from a talent deficit. Or whether it is Europe, whether it is Japan, whether it is USA, they all are today requiring talent. Their own population cannot service that talent and demand. So therefore they're looking at Indian youth. So therefore there is a need to skill Indians to be able to work in Canada or work in Japan. There is a skilled partner here who's sent 2,000 Malayalis to Japan, skilling them and sending them to Japan. So adu on the plus side. On the challenge side, there is a particular challenge in India, which I don't know if you are aware, and it certainly does not apply to this group. India in 60 kodi, 600 million, 60 crore Indians are in the workforce. This workforce is jobs, inorganized, unorganized. Adile 32 crore are unskilled. This 65-75 years of independent India, more than 52% of India's workforce is unskilled. You are the fortunate lucky ones. But you are also the exception to the general rule that Indian workforce maximum alkare unskilled. Skilling in the challenge is to take how do we make unskilled people more skilled so that they are not exploited, they get better salaries, they get better opportunities in their growth. And how do we make in the education system those ready for employment opportunities or startup opportunities in the US, in Japan and in India. This is a two-pronged approach. The Prime Minister keeps saying skilling, upskilling and reskilling. And it's absolutely the most important area of my work today. That is why I come to colleges, that is why I meet with youngsters like you and say, do your degree, but develop your skills. Because the opportunities for you, don't think of only Kerala or don't think of only Kochi. There is such a big demand for talent all around the world. So you are, like I said, you are the lucky generation.
Certainly, sir. So my question is, traditionally, IT sector or information technology sector has been providing Indians with jobs. So how do you see the growth in this field?
In the IT sector? No, the IT sector the last 2 years have created a net new jobs of almost 20 lakhs. 18 lakh new jobs have been created all India. I am predicting to you today that that will only increase exponentially. And to give you an example, you must have read Google and Microsoft in the US have laid off people. വായിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടല്ലോ പേപ്പറിൽ. അപ്പോൾ ഒരു ഗ്രൂപ്പിൽ ഞാൻ വിളിച്ച് ഐ വാസ് ടോക്കിംഗ് ടു ദം. അപ്പോൾ അവർ കരയുന്നു, ഞങ്ങൾ ലേ ഓഫ് ചെയ്ത്. So I said, but if you are, why are you going there? Your jobs alla ivideyaanu. Why are you going to Silicon Valley? So in the last 3 years, inversion has happened, which is that now the big high-paid IT jobs are being created in India, not in the US. So when I told them, you come back here, they said, okay, fine. But ivide demand undu, talent and demand undu. Companies are growing, and I can safely predict you the next 5-6 years we will continue to grow dramatically. Because our target the Prime Minister has given for the digital economy is $1 trillion by 2026. We are at 350 billion today. So we will be 3 times in 4 years.
So that's certainly a noble job that you people are doing. And I would also like to ask you about the emerging fields in this sector that one must look out for.
No, so let me start by telling you something. You all have this phone. You're all using phone. No, don't worry. I'll take it. I want to tell you a story that tells you how far India has traveled and how far we will go in the future. You asked me what are the opportunities. 2014, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji became Prime Minister, 80% of the phones used in India were imported from China. Almost everything imported. In 2022, 100% of the phones used in India, almost 99.9, is made in India. That's Apple, Samsung, any phone, it is made in India. 2014, we were not exporting even one phone because we were importing. This year alone, we will export 90,000 crores of Apple and Samsung phones made in India to the world. So when you ask me what are the opportunities in the future, the opportunities are the following. Electronics is an opportunity. Electronics in Ullilanda, semiconductor is an opportunity. Manufacturing is an opportunity, design is an opportunity. AI is an opportunity. What is the underlying internet? Blockchain is an opportunity. Web 3.0 is an opportunity. High performance computing is an opportunity. So what was 2014 only IT and ITES, Infosys, HCL, Wipro, has now moved from there to include internet. That is now going to expand to include all this. Electronics, semiconductors, AI, blockchain, high performance computing, quantum computing, all of that. So that is why I said, the Prime Minister has said 350 billion to 1 trillion. The digital economy used to be 5% of GDP, it is going to become 20% of GDP. So that is the answer to that question.
So, that's fabulous. That once something that was called a pond now is a sea of opportunities.
Exactly right.
Sir, I wanted to ask you, as we, people of Kochi, how can Kochi become a new Bangalore or a new Pune?
So I think the first answer is new Bangalore, there's no need for it. Bangalore is Bangalore, that they have trailblazed their own future. Kochi and Kerala have their opportunity to decide their own future. Other electronics lano, semiconductor lano, IT lano, AI lano, that you have to develop. So what I am doing as a minister today is going to every district saying, Eda skills, in this skill, what do you want? And then if you say, I want to do AI coding, I want to do blockchain programming, I want to do electronics design, I want to do something, we will work with the college and we will allow skill centers to be set up that will create that kind of capability. So what should Kochi do should be decided by you. And you should say, this is the skill that I want to do, and then we will certainly step up and help Kochi. The mayor of Kochi asked me this, and I confirmed to him. If you come to me and say, idana njangalude students inu vendathu, ee 4 colleges ingane skilling kodukanam, we will 100% support you to do that.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, our Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi has termed next decade as India's Techade. Which one technology you think is going to revolutionize the world?
That I don't think anybody should try and predict. Technology by its very nature, we can only safely agree on one thing, that disruption is the normal. Nalatta company we cannot predict. You are seeing today Google, which is such a big company,
Everybody thought without Google you cannot live, Google without search, search without Google is impossible. In the last 2 months, 3 months, Microsoft, because of AI and ChatGPT, is now making Bing compete with Google search. So technology, artificial intelligence, compute, semiconductors, all this is going to change the normal that we know today into something that we cannot anticipate tomorrow. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത് skills are important. ഇന്നത്തെ ഡിഗ്രി എടുത്തിട്ട് you want to continue to try and do something 5 years from now, that may be very, very difficult because it's going to be very competitive. So do a degree, but always do skills, and then do skills which are constantly upskilled and updated.
Definitely, sir.
So talking about this India Techade, what are the skills that one needs to capitalize on this opportunity?
So good question. And today in an earlier meeting, I made this clear to students that when I come and speak about technology, it is not for MCA alone or BCA alone, or it is not for only computer science or coding or software development. If you are a physics major, it applies to you. If you are a biology major, it applies to you. If you are a food processing or food science major, it applies to you. Why? Because every sector, every application today has digital elements in it. So it could be simply from point of being a platform that creates analytics, customer facing platform. എന്താണെങ്കിലും digital skills, if you don't have, you are not ready for, you are not future ready. And the phrase that I use is, if you want to be a future ready talent or a future ready student, do your studies well, you are doing math, do it well, but also have digital skills. അതിൽ ഞാൻ ഇതല്ല പറയുന്നത് കോഡിങ്ങും പഠിക്കണം അതല്ല, but you should certainly have some broad skills digitally, similar to you or anybody, any other friend of yours who is not even in MCA, not even in a computer related program. But digital skilling is non-negotiable if you have to be future ready in the coming India Techade.
So, and I have to ask one more question. While preparing for this interview, we were actually surfing through your website for information, and we came across this rather interesting title called Digital Walks. Can you elucidate on that?
No, Digital Walks was before I was a minister. I used to have conversations with groups of students, groups of people, and talk digital, talk technology. And the idea is really that I have a perception of technology which is maybe linked to my exposure as a computer science person. You will have your perception of technology very different. Some people will use technology only because they want to see Prithviraj's latest movie on Prime. So different people have an exposure to technology very, very differently. So when you have these conversations, you understand how people see technology, where do they see the utility, where do they see threat, where are they intimidated, what are the barriers, what are the the sort of supportive enabling environment. So that is what I call digital walks, and I used to do these discussions from media to tech to all of that. But after I became minister, I've had no time to continue that, so that is put on hold.
Sir, now since everything is moving on to internet, so how can we make our internet safe, trusted and open in this era of misinformation and disinformation?
Very good question. This is a brilliant question. No, you're absolutely right, because internet today for India is, we have 82 crore Indians who are using the internet. Adile vayasaya grandparents are there who are using it for pension. Then children are there using it for education. Housewives are there using it for shopping and things like that. Students are using it for things. So it is very important that the internet is safe for all those who use it. Exploitation, bullying, trolling, gaslighting, doxing, all of these things constitute user harm. So our Prime Minister has said very clearly The internet is very important for India, and India is very important for the global internet because we are the largest connected nation in the world. And so therefore, for our internet to be useful for every Indian, it should be always safe. It should always be trusted, and it should always be accountable. So therefore, if you are a user of Amazon, you are a user of Facebook, you are a user of whatever, asianetnews.com, there should be never a situation where they don't address your problems and they ignore you because they are big and you are small. So we use the 3 boundary conditions for all policy making: openness, safety and trust, and accountability to the digital Nagrik. These are principles that we believe cannot be violated by anybody who is on the Indian internet, because our priority is that every Indian citizen who uses the internet can do so with safety, trust, and not any fear.
Thank you, sir.
So you recently tweeted about no to disclose mobile numbers to vendors unnecessarily.
Correct.
Isn't data privacy a growing concern these days? And what are the measures taken by the government to ensure the same?
Again, a good question, and I'm very impressed, but I certainly believe that, and the government believes, Prime Minister believes, that for too many years, many companies have misused personal information. So you, as a innocent user, will give your number to somebody, even though the number has nothing to do with what you are buying from him. You are buying a book in an airport bookstore. അയാൾക്ക് നമ്മുടെ നമ്പർ എന്തിനാ ആവശ്യം? ബുക്ക് വാങ്ങിച്ചു, കാശ് കൊടുത്തു. So ആ ഒരു പ്രാക്ടീസ് ഒരു 5-6 years it has been going on. ഈ പേഴ്സണൽ ഡേറ്റയിനെ ഹാർവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്ത് എക്സ്പ്ലോയിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക, മിസ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യുക. So for that, we have bringing a bill, or legislation, Digital Personal Data Protection Bill. And that will be enacted by Parliament very soon. And that will protect and give the right to every Indian citizen that no business, no company, no platform can seek your information except that is very, very necessary for providing the service that you want from that platform. So if you are, for example, ordering food from Zomato, Zomato can take your number and take your address. അപ്പൂപ്പൻ്റെ ഡേറ്റ് ഓഫ് ബർത്ത് എന്താണ്, ഗ്രാൻഡ് ഫാദറിൻ്റെ അഡ്രസ്സ് ഏതാണ്, അമ്മേൻ്റെ അച്ഛൻ്റെ പേരെന്താണ്, അതൊന്നും കൊടുക്കാൻ പാടില്ല. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഇല്ലീഗൽ. സോ ബൈ ദ ലോ ദാറ്റ് വിൽ ഓൾ ബി മെയ്ഡ് ടോട്ടലി ഇല്ലീഗൽ.
Yeah, we are looking forward to it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shall we have another round of resounding applause for our participants for their thorough research and wonderfully relevant questions? The floor is now open for a final round of questions. Due to dearth of time, which I hope you will all understand, we will be receiving 2 to 3 questions from the audience. Please raise your hands and you will find yourself with a mic.
Am I audible? Okay. Good evening, sir. Myself Sabya Mishra, and I'm pursuing BCA Data Science first year. So, sir, my question is, through your life, if you see, you have been through various career options. So, you have been transitioning from chip designer, which is basically a technical field. From there, you went to being a businessman, entrepreneurship. You went into that. Then from there you became a politician, being a member of parliament, then from there a minister right now. So sir, which like one of these roles was very, inspiring for you, and you enjoy it a lot? You like to work in that?
No, so I want to tell you very clearly, and I'm not saying this because anything else. I have enjoyed every experience in my life. If I don't enjoy it, I don't do it. So I've enjoyed being at Intel. I learnt a lot there. I certainly had my bad moments when I was building telecom in India, but I have enjoyed it. It is a big
it's a more matter of pride for me that I helped build the Indian telecom sector. And in the politics, I came in, like I said, by fluke in 2006. And I hope you will agree that I have tried to make a mark. I've tried to do a good job, and I've tried to do right by the country and by my countrymen and countrywomen. And if you agree that I've done a good job, then I will be happy in that as well.
Yes, sir.
So,
Good evening, sir. My name is Devika Prakash. I'm finally a BBA student. Sir, as a student, we are often asked this question, where do you see yourself in next 5 to 10 years? Now we want to ask you, where do you see yourself after 5 years?
So maybe I should hear where you want to be from in 5 to 10 years, and then maybe I'll give you my idea. Why don't you share with all of us where you see yourself in 5, 10 years? That's more important, because I'm old. You are the young Indian, and you are the one who's going to make the future of India. So you tell us where you see yourself.
So currently, since I'm doing my final years in UG, within 2 years I will be completing my PG, either in MBA or in Masters in Finance or HR field. Then I would be working I wish to work in a very reputed company or go for other higher exams.
Good. So thanks. That's good clarity. Well done, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
No, look, for me, up till today, from the earliest days, I used to have a 5-year goal. And I have a small diary where I used to make a note that next 5 years, at the end of 5 years, I want to be this, I want to have achieved this. But after 2018, and I've now been in politics for 17 years, I think now I am focused more on generally doing good and serving my nation and serving my people, and I don't really now think about what comes after that. So to disappoint you, I don't have very much clarity of what I will do 10 years from now. I just hope to be healthy, and I hope not to be in a wheelchair, and I hope to be continuing to do something productive and useful. And that itself will be a good thing for me. And I hope certainly to see in the next 10 years, India being a fully developed nation, all of you being very successful, not just in Kerala or India, globally. And I want from this audience to be able to say 10 years from now that there were these young Indians in this audience, and 100 of them have succeeded beyond their expectations. That would certainly satisfy me 10 years from now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
We'll have one last question.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. I'm Niranjana. I'm a final year MCA student. So, adding on to Devika's question, I would like to ask you that after 5 to 10 years, in which state would you see yourself in? Will be it in Delhi, Karnataka, or Kerala?
Where will I be what? Delhi, Karnataka, or...
Where will I live?
No. After 5 to 10 years, in which state will you see yourself in?
See, in 2006, I'll share some experience with you. In 2006, when I filed my nomination form, I was asked for the first time in my life, what caste are you? I had no idea what I was. I just knew I was Indian. So similarly, if you tell me where will I live, I know for certain that I live in India. അതിപ്പോൾ ലക്ഷദ്വീപിലാണോ ആൻഡമാനിലാണോ ബാംഗ്ലൂരിലാണോ കൊച്ചിയിലാണോ I don't know. I will live in India. I certainly will be happy wherever I live in India, and that is what I look forward to doing. So I don't distinguish between Bangalore, Kochi, Hyderabad, or Andaman Nicobar.
Thank you, sir. This discussion has been arranged in the format of a fireside chat. Fireside chats have a very long history. These were instrumental during the Roosevelt regime in the USA as a form of mediation between the government and the civilians. The tone and the content naturally remains relaxed and very personal. I would say that this particular discussion has embodied all that in its spirit and has embodied the spirit of participative government. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
To present the Honorable Minister with our humble token of gratitude and appreciation, I invite Sampujya Swami Purnamritanandapuri, General Secretary, Mata Amritandamayi Mutt, onto the stage. Swami. To propose the formal vote of thanks, I call upon stage Dr. Vimina E.R., Head of the Department of CS and IT, Amrita, Kochi Campus.
Om Amriteshwari Namaha. Honorable Minister Shri Rajeev Chandrasekhar, respected Swamiji, respected Director, guests, faculty colleagues, and my dear students, a very good evening to one and all. I deem it an honor to propose the vote of thanks in this august occasion. Today, we have been very fortunate to have with us a young, dynamic visionary, Shri Rajeev Chandrasekhar, Honorable Minister of State for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship and Electronics and Information Technology. Sir, we are very grateful to you for finding time to visit our campus, interact with our students, and share your experience and visions on India's Techade of Opportunities. I am sure that the experience and information you have shared will be very beneficial to all the young minds present over here. On behalf of the Amrita fraternity, I sincerely thank you for your esteemed presence. Now, on behalf of everyone present here, let me sincerely thank our director, Dr. U. Krishna Kumar, for organizing this event and giving us this opportunity. My heartfelt thanks to all the guests and to the media for being here with us today. This event will not have been possible without the tireless work, dedication, and commitment of the faculty members, students, and ICTS team. From the bottom of my heart, I thank each and every one of you for the successful coordination and presence. Thanking you all once again. Namaskar.
Thank you, ma'am. We conclude with the Shanti Mantra, followed by our national anthem.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om हरिः ओम्। जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे। गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।